Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And just to get away from the COVID stories, just for one piece at least, is Humza Yousaf has failed again. Now, don't look so surprised, guys, because he is boasting about his business relationship, and he's saying, "Oh, look, we're doing the most for businesses and that." And we want you to really feel that Scotland's a place where you can do business and we'll help you and all this. Utter load of old rubbish, isn't it? Well, it is, because they've done a survey, and in the hospitality sector, there's an astonishing number of people who don't think he's doing a particularly good job. Indeed, they think that he is completely out of touch and he doesn't understand what the sector needs and what is going on and what the harm his policies are doing to it, which is quite a lot when you look. I mean, we've covered some of these in the past, but it's only a little piece, but I think it's worth going because it just goes to show the level of ineptitude and ignorance this man has for any sector of the economy. But for some reason, hospitality seems to completely pass by him with no understanding whatsoever. And it's a huge number that don't like it. Let's have a look. Now, before we get into it, I will ask just to check that you are still subscribed. I had a load yesterday of people being unsubscribed randomly. YouTube are so shady about this. I think it's because we are political. They don't like us. They push us down. They try to, sneak away to stop the word getting out. So do please make sure you are subscribed. And if you're yet to subscribe, now's an excellent time. You don't want to miss the old Nicola Sturgeon stuff later. So do please hit that subscribe button and spread the word. Anyway, Humza Yousaf's business boast is in tatters as an unprecedented lack of faith in the SNP government is exposed. It is astonishing the number of people who don't think the SNP are doing a particularly good job. The First Minister had promised a new deal for business. We know what that means. More tax. But the hospitality sector is failing to see that, with a whopping 96% saying the nationalist executive was out of touch. 96% of the hospitality sector think that he doesn't have a clue. Well, that's about the same rate as the number of people in the country, so it's only to be expected, I suppose. Humza Yousaf's boast that he wanted to reset the Scottish Government's relationship with business has been blown to pieces, because of course it has. He hasn't got a clue. He doesn't understand. What does he know about hospitality? He doesn't go out and enjoy himself, does he? Doesn't go to bars, doesn't go and stay places and do things. He's not that kind of guy. He doesn't know, he doesn't understand the costs involved, the overheads, the problems with staffing, all sorts of issues. He hasn't got a clue, but he goes, "Oh, there's a sector, let's tax it. Let's make life harder. Let's put bureaucracy in. Let's license this. Let's do that. Let's push everything here." And utterly destroys it. Because it's all he knows to do. He can't build. He can only destroy. Anyway, this staggering figure of 96% was included in a snapshot survey by the Scottish Licensed Trade Association. Over 500 businesses responded as they set out challenges facing pubs, bars and hospitality venues in 2024. And of course, the biggest single challenge is the SNP. Compiled in the aftermath of Christmas and New Year, the research suggested 57% of outlets would not bother opening fully in January or February. Now, that's nearly 2/3 of outlets can't afford to open fully for the first 2 months of the year. 3/4 expect to need government support to survive this year. And 65% expect the economy to decline. Well, of course it's going to decline. Have you seen who's running it? A woman with an IQ of 86. It's not good. It really isn't. Over half the businesses saw trading levels either remain the same or decline on the previous calendar year. And 22% experienced a decline of more than 10%. He's decimating the industry with his policies and his lack of knowledge and his lack of ability. He just can't. He's a man who can't. He's the little man who can't. 68% of outlets expect business performance in 2024 to be about the same or in a slight decline over 2023. It is not even funny because this is people's livelihoods. This is people's jobs. This is the greater economy. Because once people start losing their jobs, their money that they were earning isn't getting spent in places. It's a vicious circle. He's cycling down the drain. And you have to excuse that. That was my dog coming in to see me, wondering what that squeak was. He came in, looked at me, turned around and left. He's a bugger. Anyway, get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. But anyway, this circling down the drain of the economy, though, is always going to happen when you've got people like Humza Yousaf and Shona Robertson utterly destroying, by policy, an economy. This isn't accidental. This has been decided because they're told in advance, if you do this, that will happen. They know it. And they still proceed with that policy. So the destruction of the economy is not accidental. It's planned. It's a planned destruction. Probably on the orders of the Greens, because the Greens hate an economy, hate growth, hate businesses doing well. They hate people being happy because they're Marxists. And Marxists know happy people don't vote for Marxists. Mr Yousaf promised a new deal for business after becoming the First Minister last year, but Colin Wilkinson, the SLTA Managing Director, believes that this has not materialised. Of course it won't, and it will not at all. He said, "We certainly don't need a crystal ball to predict that 2024 will be just as challenging as the last few years, if not more." First Minister Humza Yousaf pledged to give us the new deal for business, but we're seeing very little of that so far at a time when businesses across Scotland need support if they are to be part of the efforts to rejuvenate communities, boost economic growth and create jobs. Now you also have to remember that the UK government, Westminster, handed millions upon millions of pounds to the Scottish government. And they said that this was to be paid to businesses to reduce their business rates. It was a business rates reduction payment. There you go. Pay that directly to the businesses and let them reduce their rates. And did Humza Yousaf do that? Did the SNP do that? No, they did not. They kept it, spent it on those foreign embassies and all sorts of crap that nobody actually needs. He deliberately withheld money that was supposed to go to the businesses from those businesses. Businesses that will now go under, that will put people on the dole, that will destroy the economy. And once you get a high street with a few businesses gone and no one taking over, it makes the high street unattractive. More businesses go, fewer footfall, more people fail, businesses go. Next thing, high street dead. It's planned. Don't think this is accidental. Don't blame this on the wider economy. This is planned by Humza Yousaf and Shona Robertson at the behest of the Greens. This is all planned. They were told what would happen, and it's happening. He said, and going back to Colin Wilkinson, he said, Christmas was not quite as bad as expected, but not what we'd hoped for. New Year trading was poor, and even places like Edinburgh, where world-renowned Hogmanay celebrations take place. He said, Mr Wilkinson, described Scotland's commercial rating system as archaic and called for rates relief for businesses. Well, you would have had it. They were given the money. He also pointed out to the introduction of the low emission zone in Glasgow as an issue ahead of similar rules being enforced in Edinburgh, Aberdeen and Dundee this year, putting further pressure on these businesses, destroying the high street even more until eventually every town, city, village, hamlet in Scotland is devoid of stores, everybody's unemployed, everybody's miserable, everybody is poverty stricken, children go hungry, people are getting evicted, living on the streets, and only then will the SNP and the Greens be happy. He said the introduction of more low emission zones in our city centres is also a major issue for our industry. We know that all the significant detrimental impact that this has already had in Scotland's largest city in Glasgow. He said there's a tourism tax and a high VAT rate for accommodation providers. Challenges in the year ahead are likely to be the return of the deposits return scheme and alcohol marketing and promotions restrictions. And it comes after one of the country's leading entrepreneurs, Sir Tom Hunter, had criticised the SNP's record with the economy and suggested the party had been in government for far too long. Certainly far too long for people who, like to have a job or eat or raise a family. Because he wants to oversee the complete destruction of Scotland, turning into a third world shithole so that all the new Scots will feel at home. Coming up. So there you go. Yet another fail in a long history of fails from a man who has never had a success in anything he's done. Why on earth did they make him leader? They only had to look at his record and go, God, this is going to be awful. I do believe there's a lot of buyer's remorse. I do think there's a lot of people in the party now are thinking, we've chosen the wrong one. Especially the backbenchers. They're looking at the polls and they're thinking, I'm out of here. I'm done. There's going to be a change. I think I've maintained that he'll be gone by Easter. The way it's going, he may be gone before then, but I think he may well be gone by Easter, and I think that would be the time, because they need to give Kate a run in to try and sort out something, fix what's broken. They can't fix what's broken, but at least patch up the various holes in this sinking ship long enough to try and salvage as much as they can, because with him at the helm, it's like the Titanic. He's both the captain and the iceberg. It's going down. Anyway, I shall finish there on a happy note. Thanks very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Until next time, I shall see you later. Bye.